Israel Adesanya says that next week, UFC 281, Madison Square Garden, huge fight with Alex Pereira. He says the belt, he said beating Pereira is what's important. It's like, fuck the belt. This is about pride. It's way bigger than the belt. Wants to prove how much he's evolved as a fighter. And yeah, of course. Well, I mean, they got part and parcel, don't they? But obviously, there's a bit of pride at stake for Izzy. You know, he's coming back. He's coming to haunt him. He's coming to, you know, it's almost like the bogeyman. Is this Izzy's kryptonite? Is this the guy that's going to take away all his hopes and dreams, his livelihood? He's going to stop his run as champ and beat him for a third time. So when you put all that together, yeah, you know, it's about beating this man once and for all. This guy that can lay claim to being the better fighter, the better kickboxer, a guy that's probably, you know, and Izzy probably won't admit it, but probably occupied some time in his head, certainly as he's rising through the ranks of the UFC. And people are definitely looking at this fight to be made down the line. The reality is he has been fast-tracked. You know, that's simply because Izzy is that good. He's beaten all the competition, you know, and now, you know, as I say, he needs fresh blood, and there's a perfect storyline here. The unbeatable guy, the guy that hasn't been beaten at middleweight, there's a kickboxer out there who's the same height, has pretty much the same reach, and has beaten him twice and once by knockout. Come on, you know? What do you think, Harrington?
Well, so what really jumped out to me is the second half of this quote, right? I just feel like I want to have fun. That's the goal. This fight, I'm going to have fun. That's the ultimate goal. When I have fun, I'm the best in the world. So like that concept of not going into it with that sense of like, I got to beat this guy. I got to get that one back. As you said, the boogeyman is standing across from me. The guy who has taken away my O in kickboxing and has separated me from consciousness. Having that kind of attitude is super interesting to me for Israel Adesanya, somebody who's not, you know, super, you know, wrapped up in that revenge mindset or needing to get this one back, but somebody who just wants to go out there and put on a great display of martial arts is interesting.
Brian?
I might be Izzy fanboying a little bit here, but kickboxing is much different than MMA. And I watched both of those fights that Izzy lost.
Yeah, me too.
And he had control in a lot of the fight, for a lot of those fights. And the ref stops, like, breaks the fight up a lot in kickboxing, whereas that shit isn't going to happen in MMA. Like, Alex is not going to have the breathing room that he had to reset when he's in a shit spot in the octagon.
In the second fight, the one where Izzy got knocked out, I think it was the second one, Pereira had a standing count. Pereira got, you know, the referee stepped in because Izzy cracked him with a really good shot, and it was like a standing 7 or 8 count, something like that. It was a very competitive fight. You know, it wasn't like Pereira just, you know, because if you haven't seen him, when you hear the narrative, he's beaten him twice in kickboxing, once by knockout, that makes it sound like he's just so far and larger, way ahead, and he's just a better kickboxer. No. Yes, he got the 2 results. One of them was a very close fight, and arguably you could have made a decision that, you know, either way. And the second one, you know, Pereira, the referee had to step in and give him a standing count, and then the next round, Izzy gets knocked out. It was just one of those fights. So there's no given here. And I do think what Izzy said there, trying to have fun, is important, because when you have fun, like, obviously it's not a fun environment. You're fighting in the octagon, you know, and there's massive consequences. But if you can separate yourself from the seriousness of the situation, and you can allow yourself to be having fun and just, you know, you perform so much better. Like when I fought Rocco for the belt, I was having fun. When I fought Kung Lee, I remember thinking, this is fucking cool. Do you know what I mean? I'm in China, right? I'm fighting Kung Lee. We're throwing spinning back kicks all over the place. I was enjoying myself, you know, and I had one of the best performances of my life, because you let go of that tension and you don't mind fuck yourself, because it's so important to you. So yeah, a lot of pressure on him, but if you can go out there and have fun, and let's be honest, Izzy is leveled up. Do you know what I mean? Look at his lifestyle. I don't know what his net worth is, but Israel Adesanya's net worth is very high. Do you know what I mean? He's earning a lot of money, and he has been for a long time. I think it's well documented. I think he came out, he's like the second highest earner now after McGregor. I think that's what came out last year or whenever he signed his new contract. And there's the fame and the fortune and the adoration of the fans. And then there's all the endorsement deals and everything else that goes along with being the champ. But when you get that, you want to hang on to that for as long as possible. And that's why Izzy does get better every single fight. And also, I do think it's partly why some people kind of criticize him that he's fighting to not lose. You know, we saw the same thing with George St. Pierre back in the day, you know, and potentially the same thing with John Jones. You know what I mean? Because you get accustomed to this life, and it all comes from that one thing. So, you know, so you do want to hang on to that, you know, but maybe I'm wrong there, but just a couple of thoughts.